Let's talk about the intersection of ADHD and rewilding. We use this meme by a popular ADHD expert as a proxy for this topic. It's titled ADHD in Primitive Society. Firstly, I avoid the word primitive due to its historic use as a pejorative, but there are people reclaiming it and using it as in a positive way. Regardless, when it's paired with clip art of cliche cavemen enacting offensive tropes, it definitely puts my hackles up. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's focus here, Peter, and read the caption. Anyone else feel like a cave person stuck in modern times? The next time you feel bad about an impulse purchase or a forgetful moment, think of your roots and why ADHD has evolved with us. Remember, our current society has only been established for a tiny blip of time compared to all of human history. You're not alone feeling out of place in a light-speed changing world. This idea stems from the theory of environments of evolutionary adaptation. If we can study and understand what our environments were like for the majority of our evolution, we can understand what kind of world our bodies are best adapted to. This originated in the Paleolithic nutrition movement as a way of studying what foods humans are best adapted to eating, but it's now used in all contexts of our evolution: physical and mental health, sociality, subsistence models, and more. It's true the world we live in today is very different from the one we lived in just a few thousand years ago. There are examples being discovered all the time of how our biology is mismatched with our environment. As this meme portrays, in the current moment, emphasis is being placed on the idea that the cluster of symptoms we are presently calling ADHD is actually an inherited product of our evolution, an adaptation to the way we used to live, and has only become a problem within the context of modern society. This has led people living with so-called ADHD to feel less shame about who they are, which is really important. As someone who has many of the symptoms but not an official diagnosis, I would love to share this belief. Only there's a big problem with the idea. We don't actually know if these symptoms are an adaptation for humans through our evolution, or if they are in fact created by the mismatched environments that we're living in today. This is because many of the symptoms that I and others experience, such as executive dysfunction, go away or are minimized if we are getting enough sleep, nutrition, movement, social interaction, less screen time, and more. In other words, the more our environment actually matches the one we are adapted to, the less likely we are to have symptoms or behaviors associated with ADHD. Now, this isn't the case for everyone. Some people have strong behaviors that match up with ADHD regardless. In a hunter-gatherer society, oftentimes there are complementing forms of neurobiology or neurodiversity that integrate individuals and their needs into a meaningful whole. It could very well be that the symptoms of ADHD were welcome and necessary for some members of the tribe, especially for those people in the contemporary era who continue to have behaviors associated with ADHD, even when all other aspects of their life mirror that of our ancestors. Let me rewrite that caption line by line through a rewilding lens. Anyone else feel like a cave person stuck in modern times? Let's change that to: anyone else feel like an immediate return hunter-gatherer stuck in an oppressive agrarian state? The next time you feel bad about an impulse purchase or forgetful moment, think of our roots and why ADHD has evolved with us. Changes to: the next time you feel bad about a symptom of so-called ADHD making your life hard for you, think of how these symptoms would have either helped you or not existed at all in our past. Remember, our current society has only been established for a tiny blip of time compared to all human history. Becomes, remember, sedentary hierarchies with poor nutrition and excessive forced labor have only been around a few thousand years compared to the few 100,000 years of our species. You're not alone feeling out of place in a light-speed changing world is now, you're not alone feeling out of place in a cage. I think the bottom line here is that you don't have to feel shame for who you are. Whether your symptoms are innate or a product of our twisted society or some combination of both, either way, the problem is the mismatch of contemporary society with our bodies and minds, and the solution is to rewild.